very good evening. You're watching Breaking News. I'm Rishika Barua. A day after bulldozers were sent to an already tense Jahangirpuri, the Supreme Court today has ordered that there will be no demolitions in Jahangirpuri or elsewhere until further orders. The matter will now be heard in the Supreme Court in another 2 weeks' time. The court has also said that a notice needs to be given at least 5 to 12 days prior to any property being demolished. And if indeed notices were not served in this case, then the court has asked all affected individuals to come forward with their side of the story. The Supreme Court has also said that it's going to be taking a very serious view of the fact that demolitions took place and continued to take place well after and despite the order from the court to pause them. Now, yesterday, interestingly, at a meeting between Home Minister Amit Shah and the Delhi BJP, it has been decided that the BJP-controlled MCD will continue demolitions in Delhi after 2 weeks. The BJP, in fact, today accused opposition of political tourism in Jahangirpuri. This, as a Congress delegation that visited Jahangirpuri today, that's 24 hours after all the drama unfolded at Ground Zero, this delegation was in fact stopped by the Delhi police and not allowed in the areas where the clashes took place, not allowed in that lane where this entire demolition drive took place. So those are dramatic pictures of the Congress delegation being stopped as they visited Jahangirpuri. Well, it doesn't end there. It's not just the opposition, even the media is not being given access to the bulldozer victims. NDTV Saurabh Shukla tried to access, in fact, all our reporters at Ground Zero have tried to access these victims to get their side of the story on what they now plan to do. But there are barricades. This entire area has been cordoned off. And, well, we were not allowed to speak with the people affected. Take a look at what happened.
See, I'll try and go to that side. They'll stop me and they'll tell me not to go there. In fact, they have deployed the paramilitary forces. See, these are the people, these are the victims. And yesterday night I was late. Let's see. I'll try and cross the rope and I will go towards it. Then they will stop. See, you can see a police personnel is trying to raise me. Listen to that. Listen, देखिए. You can hear. So now we are not allowed to speak to the victims. Sir, क्या हो गया? मतलब इन लोगों की प्रॉब्लम हुई है. सुनिए तो प्रॉब्लम हुई है, इनकी दुकान गई है तो इनसे बात भी नहीं कर सकते हम. बोलिए सर. इनसे बात भी नहीं कर सकते. हाँ, नहीं तो आप भी तो रोक रहे हैं हमें.
All right. So when, of course, we tried to question why the media was being stopped, Delhi police personnel not authorized to speak to the media had absolutely no answers. But why is it that the media and the opposition is being barred from meeting with these victims and telling their side of the story? It is indeed extremely worrying. Joining us on Breaking Views, Mr. Shamshad, who is an advocate, also a petitioner in this particular case. He's an advocate with the Supreme Court. Thank you for being with us. We have Prateek Shom, also a Supreme Court advocate. Colin Gonsalves, a senior advocate with the Supreme Court as well. Supriya Srinath of the Congress, Mahesh Verma of the BJP and Akshay Marathe of the Aam Aadmi Party. Thank you all very much for joining us. Mr. Shamshad, I want to begin by asking you are one of the petitioners in this case. The Supreme Court has today said that for 2 weeks no demolitions are going to take place. But interestingly, the court has also said that it is going to consider taking, quote unquote, a serious view of the fact that demolitions continued well after the Supreme Court ordered them to stop.
Yes, certainly it is very serious issue because see, at around 11 o'clock, quarter to 11, this order was passed and all the media persons were present in the courtroom and immediately it got flashed. And I spoke with your Mr. Saurabh Shukla and I told him that you please convey it to him. And he kept telling me that, see, I have told them, but these people are not listening to. So I had to write a letter and then I took number through him, Mr. Shukla only, and I sent a WhatsApp message to the mayor of NDMC saying that this is what has happened in the courtroom.
And how did he respond?
Kindly stop it. So at around 10 minutes past 12, he responded that yes, we will obey the order. But even then, I was being told that the demolition is still continuing. Till the time these bulldozers, kept moving and moved further and till the time the bulldozers moved to the temple. Then all of a sudden they said that, all right, now we have decided to stop it because there is something going on in the Supreme Court. But by that time, almost 1.5 hours had gone and during this period, many establishments had been demolished. So it's a very sad affair, and the public authorities should not behave like this. Ultimately, they are custodian of public interest. They should not behave like as if they are serving some private interest or some individual.
Mr. Prateek Shom, can the mayor of North Delhi therefore, can contempt action, for instance, be taken against him if the court in its wisdom decides to do so, given the fact that, as Mr. Shamshad is pointing out, it's a brazen violation of a Supreme Court order. He himself, being a petitioner, tried to reach out to him, but well after that message was in fact sent through, the demolitions continued.
See, Rishika, as an officer of the court, I am under bounden duty to mention that dignity of the court cannot be undermined under any circumstances. But we also have to understand that there is a process and a protocol through which respondents are served. Registry has to communicate the order of the court either through DAG or either through electronic mode. Post-COVID, we have seen that electronic mode works fast. But we have to understand that the man on the bulldozer is not aware that what honorable effects.
No, we're not talking about the man on the bulldozer. The man on the bulldozer was not the mayor himself, but he was acting at the behest of the mayor, wasn't he?
Right. Unless he is being told so. So we have to see. It may take couple of hours, which happened, in this particular case. But we have to see that these kind of status quo messages generally takes at least an hour, so that the respondents can.
Colin Gonsalves, please come in here. As a senior advocate of the Supreme Court, we have two different views from two different advocates on the panel. How would you look at these developments? The court has said today it's going to take a serious view of the fact that demolitions continue despite orders.
Well, I do think it is contempt of court, and I'll tell you why. And I do hope the Supreme Court really stands up to people's expectations and punishes for what has happened. You see, this is not like the good old days where some paper in writing will come with the seal of the court. Here, the court proceedings are being reported on live law on a minute-by-minute basis. And the moment the senior officer, when he's shown it, or he should know if somebody is complaining that the court has made an order, he just has to go to some of these channels or go to live law, and he'll get the statement of the court there. Now, he doesn't have to, get something in cast iron evidence, but what he has to do is, the moment he gets an idea that there is a court order, he has to stop his hand. Because the heavens are not going to fall if he waits for half an hour to confirm on the phone with his lawyer as to whether the order is passed. That he chose to go ahead means he got instructions from someone senior up in some party or some corporation. He got orders saying, just go ahead.
Mahesh Verma, do you want to respond to that the mayor wouldn't have disregarded the Supreme Court order? And mind you, it was not just all over social media. There were tons of media teams on the ground who were informing him of this, including our own teams on the ground informing the mayor of the fact that this is what has happened in the Supreme Court, and yet he continued. Mahesh Sharma, did he get orders from the top, as Colin Gonsalves is alleging?
लेकिन उससे भी इंटरेस्टिंग बात और है. देखिए, ये दंगों के ऊपर जो ये दंगल का ये सारे एंगल जो अभी एक्सप्लोर हो रहे हैं, वो बड़ी हास्यास्पद है, वो बहुत निंदनीय है. अगर कोई इस तरह से, जहां दंगा राजस्थान की तरह यहाँ दंगा नहीं हुआ, पुलिस ने उस दंगे को विफल कर दिया, फिर भी उसको दंगा करार दिया गया. रोड पे जो इंक्रोचमेंट था, जो गैर कानूनी चीज था, जिसको हटाने से लोगों की सुख सुविधा बढ़ी है, जिसके ऊपर लोग उस जब इंक्रोचमेंट हटाया गया, जिसके ऊपर सुप्रीम कोर्ट का स्टे ऑर्डर आया, उसके बाद लोगों ने खुद अपने हाथ से अपने इंक्रोचमेंट हटाने शुरू किए. उसके ऊपर
महेश शर्मा जी, ये इंक्रोचमेंट और उसको
गैर कानूनी चीजों को
लेकर कर ही नहीं रहे हैं. मैं सिर्फ एक लिमिटेड सवाल पूछ रही हूँ. मेरा लिमिटेड सवाल ये है कि कोर्ट के ऑर्डर के बावजूद डेमोलिशन चलती रही, ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? मेरा सिर्फ यही सवाल है. मैं डेमोलिशन लीगल थी, इलीगल थी, मैं तो इस मामले में पड़ी नहीं रही हूँ. मैं तो एक सिंपल सा सवाल पूछ रही हूँ.
क्यों आप, अगर कोई दुष्प्रचार है, दंगों के दुष्प्रचार पे अगर लगाम जो है लगेगा नहीं, तो बात समझ में कैसे आएगी आपके दर्शकों का कि हुआ क्या?
नहीं, मुद्दा है कि क्या सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऑर्डर का पालन नहीं किया गया टाइम पे ना, यही मुद्दा है। इसी पे आपसे सवाल।
अगर वो ऐसी कोई बात होती तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट खुद उसको नोटिस लेगा, खुद उसके ऊपर कंटेम्प्ट
वही तो कोर्ट ने कहा है आज, वही तो कोर्ट ने कहा है आज।
लेकिन कोर्ट लेकिन कोर्ट के सामने ये भी इस बात सामने आई है, ये सच्चाई भी आई है, उस झूठ का भी कहीं ना कहीं खुलासा हुआ है, पर्दाफाश हुआ है, जिसमें कहा गया है कि नोटिस पहले सर्व किया जा चुका था, जो इलीगल इंक्रोचमेंट है, अनऑथराइज्ड इंक्रोचमेंट नहीं, मैं वर्ड यूज कर रहा हूँ, इलीगल, जो सड़कों पे दुकानें बनी थी, अगर उसके टूटने पे,
सवाल मैंने आपसे
सड़कों
पूछा,
पे कब्जे करने
दे नहीं रहे।
फिर वही बात, आपके सवाल का जवाब यही है कि अगर कंटेम्प्ट अगर बनता है तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट कंटेम्प्ट की प्रोसीडिंग शुरू करेगा, और
if indeed lines were crossed and if indeed the Supreme Court's order wasn't followed, then what the BJP spokesperson is saying is that the court will take a view of it in 2 weeks and we'll know which way where the court stands.
Just bear with me because I think it's only fair that I speak in. Sir, सुप्रिया मेरा नाम है, महेश जी सुप्रिया मेरा नाम है, मेरे लिए सवाल है, thank you. Just bear with me for a minute because I would like to respond in हिंदी, क्योंकि महेश जी ने हिंदी में बोला और सबको यहाँ पर हिंदी समझ में आती है। मैं डेमोलिशन कैसा था, क्या हुआ, इसमें नहीं जा रही हूँ, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लगता है सबसे पहले एक चीज विचारणीय है। एक जगह दंगा हुआ है, वैमनस्य है, हिंसा हुई है, कुछ लोगों को एनएसए में लिया गया। ये अलग बात है कि वीएचपी वालों ने दिल्ली पुलिस को धमकाकर हिरासत में नहीं लिए गए। प्रेम शर्मा जी भी और विनोद बंसल जी भी, उन्होंने धमकाया खुलेआम दिल्ली पुलिस को और ये सबने देखा, उनकी हिरासत नहीं हुई, लेकिन एक सेक्ट के लोग एनएसए के तहत बंद हुए। इसी को दंगा कहते हैं। मेरे हिसाब से 3400 दंगे जो 2016 से बीच में हुए थे वो इसी तरह के दंगे थे आपके राज में। लेकिन जहां पर दंगा हुआ, जहां पर हिंसा भड़की, वहां पर बजाय आप मरहम पे लेप लगाइए, instead of making people come together and heal their wounds, what the government chose to do was go in. This is the time you choose to send your bulldozers in. ये आपकी राजनीति है। और एक बात और बता दूं, ये 2 बजे दोपहर में होना था, लेकिन जब इनको पता चला कि ये लोग पेटिशनर्स कोर्ट जा रहे हैं तो ये सुबह 9 बजे प्रीपोन हो गया। आपकी एक बात जानकारी के लिए मैं और बता दूं कि चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया तो हमेशा डिजिटल की बात करते हैं, आप लोग डिजिटल इंडिया की बात करते हैं। इस ऑर्डर के लिए जब तक हाथ में नहीं आएगा, जो आपके संजय गोयल जी हैं, नॉर्थ एमसीडी के कमिश्नर, उन्होंने रिफ्यूज किया, उनको बताया गया कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने रोक लगा दी, उन्होंने कहा मैं लॉ ऑफिसर से बात कर लूंगा। ये असलियत थी आप लोगों की। आप लोगों ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऑर्डर का तौहीन करी,
महेश वर्मा जी
अवहेलना करी। बिल्कुल।
और मैं एक बात और कहना चाहती हूँ,
सुप्रिया जी, let him respond. You made a whole series of points. Let him respond.
देखिए, जो सुप्रिया जी बात कह रही हैं, वो पता नहीं किस बात के लिए माथा पीट रही हैं। वो इस बात के लिए माथा पीट रही हैं कि इसको दंगा करार दे रही हैं, जो दंगा हुआ ही नहीं। दंगा के नाम पर वहां ऐसा क्या हुआ है जिसके लिए आप इतना मातम मना रही हैं, जिसके लिए आप कह रही हैं कि भाई वहां तो बहुत कुछ ऐसा हो गया जिसके जैसे राजस्थान करौली में हुआ। एक बात। दूसरी बात कि आप ये कह रही हैं कि संजय
के खिलाफ एक्शन लिया गया। आपकी तरह एक आदमी को बाहर आपको धमकी देने के लिए नहीं छोड़ दिया गया।
नहीं, 30
आपके गुंडों ने क्या किया? बाहर से आप दिल्ली पुलिस को धमकी दे रहे हैं। ये आपका न्याय है दिल्ली पुलिस का।
आपका नाम महेश वर्मा नहीं है ना? आपका नाम महेश वर्मा नहीं है ना? आपका नाम महेश वर्मा नहीं है?
One by one.
महेश वर्मा है।
रखिए।
One by one. Let Mahesh Verma respond. Let Mahesh Verma respond.
ये क्या तरीका है? ये कौन सा सभ्य तरीका है?
One by one, please.
और आप जो कर रहे हैं मेरे खिलाफ कुछ भी बोलेगा और मैं झूठ बैठ के सुनती रहूंगी आपका।
Nobody is going to be able to understand. Nobody is going to be able to understand anything.
मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि ये जो कह रही हैं, इसके बारे में मैं सिर्फ इतना ही कहूंगा कि एमसीडी ने एफिडेविट देके सुप्रीम कोर्ट में क्लियर कट ये बताया कि हमने उसका डेमोलिशन ऑर्डर आज नहीं 2 साल पहले जारी किया और लगातार वो नोटिस हम सर्व कर रहे थे और वो हमारा एक्शन बनता था। वो हमारे उस एक्शन पे कोई सवाल नहीं उठाया है। सिर्फ सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ये कहा कि हम इस पूरे मामले को देखेंगे कि जो ये लोग कह रहे हैं और जो आप कह रहे हैं, और उसके ऊपर हम फैसला देंगे। उस फैसले से पहले ऋषिका,
because we're talking in detail about what happened in the Supreme Court, and because it's all important for our viewers to get a good sense of what has happened in the Supreme Court. Colin Gonsalves, if I can come back to you again. The other important thing that the court today has said is that 5 to 12 days notice needs to be given, and if indeed महेश वर्मा जी, नहीं कोर्ट में क्या हुआ है? I don't want this to become a political structure.
आपके राज में हुए 2020 तक.
Colin Gonsalves, the other important thing that's been said in the court is that 5 to 12 days of notice needs to be given, and if indeed people on the ground whose properties were demolished were not given these notices or were not given the adequate show cause notices, they need to come forward.
Already served to person who is
yes,
enforced
the
law.
In judgment after judgment of the Supreme Court.
That is on record.
First is you must give notice, and second, most important for all those who feel that poor people who are on public land have no right at all, it's important to know the leading judgment of the High Court Delhi and of the Supreme Court is that poor people must be rehabilitated because they have a right to life, means the right to housing, and when you break, you must rehabilitate. And I've heard all leaders and even lawyers saying, you're an encroacher, you'll be broken and you have no right at all. That's totally wrong. Even the poor have a right to housing.
All right. And the court today has said, please come forward with your stories if you were indeed not given these notices. The other important question that I really want to ask today is, why is it that the opposition parties and the media has been denied access to those people in Jahangirpuri whose homes or shops or carts were bulldozed? Mahesh Verma ji, do you have a view on this? दिल्ली पुलिस ने मना कर दिया है. हमने अभी चलाया कि हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि हम उन लोगों से बात कर सके ये समझने के लिए कि वो अब आगे जाके क्या करेंगे, और हमें एक्सेस नहीं दिया गया. कांग्रेस पार्टी की डेलीगेशन भी गई थी, उन्हें भी एक्सेस नहीं दिया गया.
ये क्या करेंगे? इनसे पूछिए ना, ये उनके कटोरे में 2 दाने भी डाल के आएंगे.
नहीं, मैं कांग्रेस की बात नहीं कर रही हूँ, मैं मीडिया की बात कर रही हूँ. हमारी मीडिया की टीम को रोका गया था, उन्हें जाने नहीं दिया गया था. हमारी टीम को रोका गया था, उन्हें जाने नहीं दिया गया.
हाँ, वो जो मैं विजुअल देख रहा था उसमें एक एसीपी है, उससे आप पूछ रही हैं कि भाई बताइए यहाँ क्या हो रहा है. आप
जी नहीं, हम उनसे जाने की इजाजत मांग रहे हैं, उन्होंने बैरिकेड लगाया हुआ है, जाने नहीं दिया.
देखिए, ये प्रिकॉशन हमेशा जो है लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का, कल को वहां कोई ऐसी बात हो जो कि आपकी रिपोर्टिंग से फर्क पड़े, कोई ऐसी चीज, ऐसा माहौल टेंस हो जाए, लोग आपके कैमरे को देख के और ज्यादा भड़क के और ज्यादा किसी चीज को लेकर तूफान मचे, ये फैक्टर जो है, ये शांति बनाने का काम जो है अगर हम कर रहे हैं और पुलिस कर रही है, जिस पुलिस का तारीफ होनी चाहिए, जिस पुलिस ने लाशों का अंबार बिजली से बचा लिया, ऐसे दिल्ली पुलिस के बारे में अगर हम ये व्यू पॉइंट बनाएंगे तो फिर ये लोग काम क्या करेंगे?
मैं तो सिर्फ सवाल पूछ रही हूँ कि हमें क्यों रोका जा रहा है.
आप लोगों के ये सवाल उठाएंगे मशीनरी पर, ऑफिसर
ठीक है, आप कह रहे हैं कि इट इज इन ऑर्डर टू मेंटेन लॉ एंड ऑर्डर. फेयर पॉइंट. सुप्रिया श्रीनेन एंड देन मिस्टर शमशाद. One second, quickly, very quickly. Supriya, very quickly.
Look at the hypocrisy and duplicity. 20 सेकंड पहले आप कह रहे थे वहां कुछ हुआ ही नहीं है, अब आप कह रहे हैं कि वहां भड़क सकते थे
नहीं
लोग.
हुआ
आप अपना माइक मेकअप करिए. अगर कुछ हुआ नहीं तो लोग भड़केंगे क्यों?
आपका मकसद यही है कि दंगा फसाद हो जाए.
अक्षय मराठे wants to come in as well. अक्षय, go ahead.
आपकी कोई वजूद नहीं है.
मुसलमान दोनों बोल रहे हैं.
Okay, you both have made your point. Fair point. Akshay wants to come in. Akshay, go ahead.
लोग बोल रहे हैं, आप दिखाना नहीं चाहते. मतलब पहले आप कहते हैं भड़के नहीं, अब आप कह रहे हैं भड़क जाएंगे, तो भैया आप सच को समझाइए.
Fair point. Let Akshay Marathe come in. Akshay, go ahead.
ये हमारी सफलता है कि हमने दंगा नहीं होने दिया, जान माल का नुकसान नहीं होने दिया.
Akshay, go ahead.
Funny. It's good to listen to you. It's good fun.
I think there are several questions here, and let me make 2 quick points. Point number 1 is, for 15 years, the BJP has been in power in the municipal corporations of Delhi. It is the municipal corporations which are responsible for ensuring that illegal encroachments don't come up. Everybody knows that BJP councillors take bribes to allow encroachments to come up, and this is not a secret. You ask anybody in Delhi, any encroachment has to come up. There is a set rate per square meter that you have to give to the BJP councillor.
Okay, what is the point that you're making?
Everybody looks away. The point I'm making is, if the BJP has allowed these encroachments to come up for 15 years, will any action be taken against the leaders of the BJP, the officers of the MCD, who let these encroachments come up in the first place?
Okay.
Number two,
there are also questions. Akshay Marathe, since you're asking questions of the BJP, I have to also ask you. There are questions being asked on where is the opposition, in the sense that where is the Aam Aadmi Party on the ground? Why have none of your leaders gone and tried to meet with those affected? I have to ask you, these are very serious questions that are being asked of your party.
I waited 20 minutes to say even one word on the show. Now let me...
I'm giving you an opportunity to respond,
so let me finish my point. The second point I wanted to make is that, you know, that Batman dialogue, some men just want to watch the world burn. That is what the BJP has become today. They're a party of goons and thugs. All they want to do is spoil the environment in the country, provoke riots.
My simple question, and I'll ask you again, is where is the Aam Aadmi Party on the ground? Why have none of your leaders visited Jahangirpuri?
Yes.
These are questions that are being asked.
Big question. Who is the
leaders of the party?
Who is the behind of this all?
Mahesh Verma ji, let me finish my point. The leaders of the party visited on ground today to see what assistance can be provided. But until yesterday, there was a big police presence. And it was very hard to determine whether there will be a law and order crisis. So the leaders of the party stayed away until that point. But now the Supreme Court has
Mr. Shamshad, you wanted to come in.
We went there immediately and we offered assistance.
I want to ask Mr. Sharma. He said that one affidavit was submitted by the government, say, Sharma.
Mr. Verma.
Yes.
कोई बात नहीं, प्रमोट कर दिया।
Affidavit was submitted.
देखिए कितनी जातिगत बात करते हैं आप। क्या प्रमोशन हो गया आपका?
Come on. Let Mr. Shamshad ask his question, please.
अरे मैंने थोड़ी कहा।
Mr.
There
Shamshad,
is no such affidavit which has been filed in the court today. It was oral submission. So please don't say something which is factually incorrect.
सर अपने कोर्ट के आगे कोई भी चीज कहते हैं तो वो ओथ की तरह होता है।
No, Mr. Shamshad is a petitioner in this case. Mr. Shamshad is a petitioner in this case, and he is making a very valid point. Please let him finish. He's a petitioner in this case. He was inside the Supreme Court, and he's making a very valid point. Mr. Shamshad, please finish your point.
Is that 40-50 years houses are there. The people have been living there. The mosque is there since 1977. Now, one day your leader decides that yes, these all should be removed, and this has particular background. 4 or 5 days before is certain background, like Khargon, and now you say that I'll send the bulldozer and remove everything in one day.
Okay.
It's like, you know, if there is allegation of crime against somebody, instead of doing investigation and putting him on trial, just you execute him on the very first day. This is how the bulldozer is functioning.
Okay.
मुझे right to reply मिलना चाहिए.
Yes, Prateek Shom wants to come in. Prateek Shom and then Mahesh Verma.
That I have given affidavit that
Rishika, let's make it a bit, qualitative debate. Recently, Supreme Court has ordered 2 very important judgments on encroachment. One is about the Khori encroachment in which lakhs of people got affected, but Supreme Court took a very stern view and did not pursue any of the review petitions as well and ordered for evictions. Also, a recent judgment in which railway land encroachment issue.
So, what is the point that you're making?
Yes, I am saying that Supreme Court has taken a very stern view against the encroachers. As far as the serving of notice is concerned, there is a clear judgment of 2010 of Justice Jindra which says that serving of notice is not required where the encroachment is on the public land. So we will have to see.
Yes.
Colin Gonsalves, do you want to quickly respond to that?
This land is a public land, or somebody has, encroached upon, or maybe extended his part of the risk.
Okay, Colin Gonsalves, on a point of law.
Yeah, well, there's a leading judgment in Delhi, the Ajay Makhan case. And there's an earlier case also, where a detailed protocol for breaking houses, if at all breaking is to be done, has been laid down. And the first is, it asserts the right to housing of poor people on public land. And if the land is needed for a public purpose, only then you can break, but according to a protocol, survey, notice, rehabilitation. And if the land is not needed for a public purpose, in situ rehabilitation in the same area, improve the slum and make it habitable.
All right.
Our learned gentleman speaking must understand that even the poor are covered by the Constitution of India. Article 21, the right to life, includes the right to housing. And there are umpteen judgments of the Supreme Court, S.P. Gupta's case, Nawab Khan's case, that the poor have a right to rehabilitation.
Okay. Well, there are multiple judgments, multiple points of law that have been cited here. One sincerely hopes that this case gets a fair hearing in the Supreme Court in 2 weeks. It's a story we're going to continue to track very closely. Meanwhile, one also very sincerely hopes that, keeping in mind all the law and order situation, the media is allowed to do its job and is allowed to speak to those people who have indeed lost everything, so we can tell their side of the story as well. Thank you all very much for joining us on Breaking News.